Today, we wanted to go over a few things. We're going to go over the market real quick because we have Traditional's weekly close coming up, and it's a very important one. The markets are finally sending again, and I got a lot of questions. Yeah, don't have to do push-ups this time. And I got a lot of questions about the heat maps, so I'm going to explain those as well. So, what I wanted to start with, and I know that people here don't look at traditionals all that often, but what I wanted to start with is SPX. And that is for one simple reason. We know that crypto, especially Bitcoin, so the entire market along with that, follows traditional markets. So things like SPX are a really good indicator of what Bitcoin is going to do as well. We can use those two in confluence. Because as you can see, if, for example, right over here, SPX dropped a lot, and we saw Bitcoin doing the same. These two are to some extent correlated. It's not 100% the same, but they like to follow each other. SPX is currently at a really important level. We are back at the same bearish harmonic that we were at before that massive drop we had a while ago, which you would think is a pretty bad sign. And that is very true. However, if you look at what the price is doing at the moment, we are trying to engulf the previous weekly candle. For those of you that know how to read candlesticks, right? If you can fully engulf a candle, that is a very good sign of strength. So if we can do that right below a strong resistance, then that probably means that we're going to try and push through that resistance next week. And if that happens, I think the crypto market's going to follow. So I'm going to be looking at the weekly close over here. And if we actually close the weekly above this, I think crypto is going to go a lot higher as well. Because I think that means that the markets are going to try and push through next week. It is obviously not a given, but it would be a very good sign. Yeah, it's still breaking. So that is mainly what I'm looking at for traditional. So I just wanted to go over that real quick. Yeah, if we break out here, that's gonna be incredible. Especially you can look at this chart, right? We are near all-time high again. If we break through, we make new highs, so we can start going into price discovery. That's gonna be a really good sign for the markets. So let's go onto the BTC chart. I think this is my clean chart, yeah. What we're seeing right now is we are seeing a push up. Or just it's called. I'm gonna delete everything except for the short. Wait. Okay, so we have a clean chart. What we are looking at is we are finally getting out of range lows. So how I explain BTC, and have been for a very long time now, it's through this range. Every time we drop, I have a clean chart, right? It's this chart that we take a look at to see where are we. That is the same channel I'm going to draw right now, but this one has a lot of noise, right? So I'm going to draw it again. So that is this channel right here. We have a range mid, we have a range high, and we have a range low. I treat this range the exact same way as I would with a horizontal range. So if you would trade a range like this instead, I treat it the same way. So what do we see? When we drop below, when we came back into the lower part of our range, we saw a massive push down, right? And this is where we opened longs. And I said, as long as we close the daily above this level, so above this diagonal line, I think we're fine. The target for that push, because we rejected range lows here, right? We tapped it and we closed above. The target for that is going to be range mid. So this is the main target I'm looking at. Essentially, if you would take this as an SFP trade, you would just long on the close, put your stop loss below the wick, and you would target range mid. That is what we're looking for right now. So my main target at the moment is going to be range mid, which is sitting somewhere around 61k. So because we want like actionable information from that, right? And we can't just only look at a daily chart like this. We zoom in a little. So I go on a 4 hour, or my preferred time frame, the 6 hour, and we take a look. What do we see? Well, for starters, when we push down, we formed this very bullish butterfly. So we know that we had a push up, or what's called, we had a push down in a wave structure. And the moment we touched that D point, we started going up again. We had a really good candle close here. A candle close like this is called a hammer candle, and it really indicates that, hey, we tapped a level and then we closed way above. So this is a very good candle close. So we tapped that butterfly and we rejected. What does that bring us with? Well, that gives us our current push. And our current push is looking to do the same thing again. So when I shared this long, because we are still in this long, right? Our entry is 52,600-ish. I think it's 800 actually. 52,800, and our stop loss is like right below this wick somewhere. So we're still in this long, right? The moment this hit, I shared a possible target. Change this to a butterfly real quick. I shared a possible target. I said we have something called a reciprocal ABCD. And it might be a complicated name, but essentially it is one simple thing. This is a very, very old chart pattern. Like, this is a chart pattern like back from the days where they drew it by hand, right? Where you had to go to like the broker or the exchange or whatever, and you had to print it out and then draw on it with pen and paper. Like, that's how old the pattern is. Essentially, what you're saying with this pattern is if we have a price leg up and the next leg retraces, we can expect a rejection at the exact same length. So let's say in this case, BTC pushed up by 9k. We can take that 9k, we put it on this level, right? And we say, hey, if we push 9k up again, we can expect it to drop here. That's a very old pattern. We have already added like Fibonacci ratios to it and other things, because this is like the main pattern that harmonics use, but with added Fibonacci ratios. But this is essentially the pattern I'm looking to trade. There are a bunch of other confluences as well, but this is one of the this pattern is the main reason why I shared this target in the first place. So this is my main target for this push. Yeah, with a pen and paper, it is crazy. That is why the first book about harmonics, right? Everything that is in there, Scott Carney, so the guy who made them essentially, he did everything on pen and paper, because there were no like charts, there was nothing digital, so he calculated everything by hand. What other techniques are to support this theory? So about the lightning pattern, it is essentially based on. So the theory behind why it works is this. Let's go on the Eve chart, because I showed this to someone the other day and it was like perfect. Let's go on the Eve chart, right? The theory behind why this works is simple. We, as humans, have like pattern recognition, right? We recognize patterns, that's how we evolved. Because if you see a pattern a lot of times, we automatically expect it to happen again. So let's say you see price retrace. Like this. It goes up and you start going down again. Well, when it starts going down, you're going to be like, okay, how far are we going to go? So you look to the left and you see, hey, this is how far we went down. So then you put the same price lag right over there, right? Somewhere this should be about equal, slightly higher. And then you look at it and you're like, wait, this is how far we went last time. So like your pattern recognition kicks in, right? And it's going to be, oh, this is probably going to be the bottom. So that is essentially what you're looking at. So I did this, I explained this on stream to someone the other day, and I found this accidentally, but this is actually a perfect example. Like these price legs are the exact same length. Like if I were to magnet these to each other, you can see this is 2700, and this one is also 2700. It's $7 off. So that is the theory behind why they work. It is essentially just pattern recognition. Which is like techniques as old as this. I think are very interesting, because that is what like essentially the baseline of what we trade nowadays, right? Yeah, these are all fake. These are to explain something. Although we did take this long, we did take that one, and I also took that short. Actually, I took all three. These two were shared in chart ideas, so we did take them. That short is fake though. Okay. Let's see. So that is for BTC, that is what I'm looking at. I am currently looking for us to tap this level right here, as on our way up, we also formed a new pattern. We also formed a new butterfly, which is very confluent, right? It's very nice to see that we already had a level, and then we form a new pattern right beside it. So I'm essentially looking for this place right here if we were to reject. Until then, I think we have a lot of stop losses to run. So until then, I think we just push higher. Yeah, it's gonna be recorded for sure. I'm recording everything, and I'll try and upload it this evening. Let me just check if that is actually true. Yeah, it's actually true. We're recording. Oh, it just came back. Yes, we're recording. That's good timing. So that is essentially until we reach this level. I don't have any major rejection levels. I think we go to this point at least. But I will say this mid range might be a good point to like TP any longs or something like that. But for major rejection, I'm looking over here. So that is it for BTC. But we have something very interesting going on right now in the markets. Right? Just be sure we use harmonic on highs and lows to find resistance and support, right? Just to understand the concept. Yes, exactly. So the most common harmonics are M shapes and W shapes. M shapes are bullish, so they tell you the price is going to go up. And W shapes are bearish, so they tell you the price is going to go down. So essentially what they do, long story short, is they put a lot of Fibonacci ratios together, right around point D, and then you use point D as a support or resistance. So something not a lot of people know of is, let's say we have this D point, right? If we go above it and flip it to support, well, that is also a good long, even though that might be a bearish harmonic. Because what you essentially do is you create a new level of a lot of Fibonacci levels together, and you're saying, hey, that is going to be our resistance or support. So just like any support resistance, if you flip it, then you can play it the other way. That's why I usually have it like boxes, right? Just like this, to indicate, hey, this is our rejection area. And you can usually also see it because they tend to form on previous support resistance levels as well. Okay, that is it for BTC. Let's go to ETH. Because ETH is the next interesting coin. Yeah, same thing there. Pattern recognition is like the TLDR of like the most common reason as to why we think Fibonacci ratios work. Because we look for those in the markets, right, to make actions. And we do that subconsciously, but that is like the most common reason. Okay, so for ETH, we were in a long. I closed that long the moment we saw underperformance right over here because BTC was nearing resistance. It is pushing up again, but I still think ETH is underperforming. So as of now, my thesis on ETH is still that it's going to underperform for a little while. Why? Because ETH is nearing resistance right now. We are currently at the bottom of this little range over here, and we seem to be rejecting it again. we have also formed multiple bearish harmonics. So we have taken a way longer time to go up after hitting our important level, right? We hit it over here. We have taken a longer time to go up, which results in us now sitting below resistance, while BTC is kind of just pushing up, right? Like we kind of have an order block over here, but it's not really. It's not really anything. Well, ETH has a bunch of trouble above it. So I think ETH is still gonna underperform for a bit. And that is the reason why I am currently still looking. If I want to open new longs, I will likely look at ETH to open a possible short to hedge those longs. So let's say I'm gonna long BTC. I will likely open an ETH short to hedge it out, to protect myself against downside, right? Because I think ETH's gonna underperform. So that means that that it would be safer to short ETH than, for example, BTC. So as of now, I'm not doing anything yet. I don't have any ETH signals. I only have the BTC short that's somewhere over here. But I am still looking at ETH for that. And one of the reasons for that as well is ETH BTC. Because ETH BTC on a very high time frame is still working towards this guarding. So this is a very high time frame, right? This has been taking since 2021, since December 2020 actually. So this has now taken 1400 days. We are very close to the rejection area. We're like 8% off. Until this hits, I still think ETH's gonna underperform because I think this is gonna hit. Why do I think it's gonna hit? Because we have broken below our B point. So if we break below our B point, I think D is very possible. But the moment we hit this, I think ETH's gonna have a very good time. Because the moment we hit this, we have now completed a pattern that spans over 3 years, right? So that means it's likely, that means that this is a very significant level. So if we touch this level, I expect ETH to finally start performing again. And possible targets for this level would be, let's see. Move these, only put the technical targets. So possible targets for this would be quite a bit higher, as you can see. So I think ETH's gonna outperform in the near future, but I think we need to go lower for it first. Connections I'm ready, so I have 6.3. Yeah, I still have it as a limit. What's it called? I'm gonna open the chaos chart for a bit, okay? I still have it as a limit. Oh. Right there. Okay. We went over all of the tickers I really wanted to go over. I could go over BTC dominance as well. Yeah, I mean, it's just chaotic. But BTC dominance is still the same thing. I still think we're headed towards 60%. Once we do, I'm going to be very long on altcoins. But until then, I think BTC is going to keep outperforming. So this is my main level in BTC dominance still. Nothing has changed there. Okay, so to go towards the main topic of the day, I got a lot of questions about the heat map charts, right? Because I've started charting like this. And the charts are pretty hard to read, I'll admit that. Because they are pretty inconvenient, and there's a lot of information on them, right? So, I will go over them for a bit, and I will explain it. First of all, these fans, I use them on a lot of charts now. These are rather simple to read. We can essentially just treat these lines as support and resistance. The only difference being that they are diagonal instead of horizontal. So for example, let's take the 786 diagonal, right? I would treat this diagonal the exact same way as I would treat, let's say, the support level over here. Something like that, right? I would treat it the same way. If we touch it and then close above, then I expect us to go to the next support level. Or towards resistance, which would be somewhere over there. So we touch it, we close above, we go towards resistance. Same way with the diagonal. We touch the diagonal, we close above. I expect us to go to resistance, which is the next diagonal. So to fill in the gap, we touch the diagonal right over here. We close above, so I expect us to go over here. I treat these the exact same way as I treat support and resistance. So these are very similar. So let's go to the heat map charts. What I wanted to do is I can explain them by showing these charts, right? What I wanted to do is I'm going to go on a new chart. I picked AVAX for it. And then we're going to chart AVAX together. And I will show you what to look at. So let's go to AVAX. And I will just clear this one. What I look for these heat maps, and this is something to my own trading style, but you can do this with other trading styles as well, right? I personally, the first thing I do when I look at a chart is I look at harmonics. I cheated on AVAX, so I already know there's a harmonic here. So let's see, we have a deep Gartley, or I should just enable a white one, easier to see. So we have a harmonic right over here on the deep Gartley. Why do we have that? Well, our x2b is close to the 0.618. This is between the 0.382 and the 0.886, and this one is between the 113 and 224. This is a valid deep Gartley. Why is it a deep Gartley? Because x2d is an 886 instead of an 786. So, how do we get to the heat map? What I do is I draw everything manually. So I have a specific fib set for this. And I'm going to screenshot it. I know not a lot of people are going to treat these with harmonics, but you can do this with regular price lags as well. So for example, this low to this high, well, that is a pretty good fib pool, right? And then this high to this low right over here, that's also a pretty good one. So you can use it for that as well. So I put my I put the settings in chat. So I draw the entire harmonic manually. I draw the B to A leg. I then put the B to A leg over C right over here to create that lightning pattern that we just talked about at the start of the stream. Or in the harmonics case, an A, B, C, D. Then I fib the B to C leg. And the A leg to the low that we eventually created. This is what the lines are made of. So when I say that all of these lines are a harmonic, this is what I mean. Essentially, what we're looking at right now is a harmonic. So if I would remove the actual harmonic from the chart, we can see our areas of interest. We can see that we have formed a lot of Fibonacci levels in this level, right? Or in this fault, right? We also have a lot of them right over here. We have, for example, this level looks very confluent because there's 3 of them really close to each other. Little band over here. So we can kind of see our areas of interest. These areas of interest are the ones I mark. I'm going to mark them with this box for now. And that way we can kind of see our support and resistance lines. Just like that. So, for example, on this chart, we have a very good area over here. We have a pretty good area over here. And then we have some kind of range over here. There's quite a bit of them, but they're pretty spread out. If they're as spread out at this as this one, I don't actually use the level. What I look for, more than the amount of fibs, is how close they are together. So, for example, if I were to zoom in, we can see that by zooming in, that these lines are pretty far apart. So if price hits it, well, it's just gonna hit this one first, and then it's gonna hit this one, and then this one, etc. But if we go over to this box, and we're still really zoomed in, right? For example, these two are gonna get hit about at the same time. And this one is very close to it as well. So that's why I expect this level right here to be a bit more confluent, because there are so many together. This is just one of them. And these charts, if I only have one of them, they look pretty clean, right? There's not that many lines on them, so it's easy to see. But what I do is there are multiple harmonics on this chart. So let's say we take the cipher that we have over here. Or we can, what's it called? There's a cipher over here to 786. Let's draw that as well. So I'm going to group all of these. Just like that. I'm going to call it the gardening. And I'm going to hide this. But let's do it again. I am once again going to draw X to A. I am going to draw B to A. I'm going to put that over C. I'm going to draw B to C. And I'm going to draw the highest point to the lowest point. And now we can see a bunch of extra levels. So if I were to zoom in on this, we can take a look. Where are the fibs the most dense? Like, where are most of them as close together as possible? It was good done. So we can see that we have created some kind of level over here. There's like 3 of them over there. But we can see most of them have lined up right over here in this spot. There's a lot of them right over there. And that is the reason why we rejected over here. Because there's like 4 of them really close together. So what do I expect? Well, I would treat this the same way I would treat support and resistance. To keep it as simple as possible, right? I have this important area that we marked out earlier. I'm going to draw it slightly to the left. So what I can do is I wait for the candle close right over there. And on the candle close, I can take a position. Just like that. And I put my stop loss either below the wick or below the level right there. And then I zoom out. What do I target? I'm going to target the next fib band right over there, because we can see there are 3 fibs really close to each other right over there. So that's what we're targeting. We can target higher as well, but this is a conservative target, right? So that is how I play these charts, and that's how I draw them. But charts can get pretty chaotic. So let's go back on our weekly and let's enable the other one as well. Even more lines, right? I'm gonna just group these real quick. Call them cipher. I'll lock them. So that way, if you lock these, by the way, really good tip. If you lock these, even if you touch the line, you won't interact with it. So this is really nice if your chart is really full. So now I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to look at the same level. And we now have even more levels, right? You can still see this area is still very confluent. But we have also created, for example, these 2 fibs almost at exactly the same level. And we can see that because we have 2 fibs on exactly the same level, that the area surrounding it right over here is acting as support and resistance. So over here it will support, for example, support, we use it as resistance a few times over here, and then again over here as support. So because we have fibs really close to each other, we have one here as well, we can expect these to act as support and resistance. So that is essentially what I use them for. I go on a very high time frame, just like this. We're on the weekly, right? I draw my most important levels. In my case, those are harmonics, but those can just be price legs as well, right? You can take all-time low to all-time high to like the bear market lows, and then the bear market lows to the new high we formed. And you're gonna end up with a lot of fibs. And what we can look for is the areas where these fibs are the most dense. That is also why my opacity is set to really low. My opacity is set to 10%, right? Which is really low. So that I can see when the areas have more of them. So you can see the color change right over here. you can see the color change, like right over here, for example, and over here. So on these charts, I look at the difference in color rather than the amount of fibs, right? Because it's really important that they are close to each other. If they're on the same line, I expect them to act as support and resistance. And I can go in a lower time frame and I can trade it. So we could, for example, scalp this candle over here, where we touch the level and we close below. So we can take that as a short opportunity. Just like that. And we can target the next fib band. It's a nice 3-hour trade right there. But for example, right over here, right? We did it twice, where this is not one I would take for risk to reward reasons. Because we would target the next fib band. Yeah, 1 RR, I wouldn't take it. That's not worth it. But for example, this one, you know, that's another 3R for 2.9. That is a pretty rather simple way of trading lower time frames once you have it drawn out. So that is essentially what I look for on these charts. I draw them in a very high time frame. Then I look at the difference in color, and then I trade it on a lower time frame. So I'm going to go on a chart that has a very, very nice example, okay? I'm going to go on the Henry chart, and I'm going to zoom out completely. In this chart, we have some really clean levels. So, for example, where is the color like the most white? Where's the color the most dense? That would be right over here, which was the area we rejected off of. Our next level would be this line right over here, because the color is pretty dense over there. Then this one right over here. And we can see that in between, right over here, we don't have anything. There's nothing there. So what we can expect is, if we go on a lower time frame, if we flip this band to support, we can long it to the next one, which is exactly what we could have done, right? So it is a bit hard to see, but this candle, for example, it touched the level and then closed above. I would not take this one on the wick because, yeah, that is a bit too small of a stop loss, but I would just put it below the level. So it went above, we touched the level and then closed above. So we can take a position and we can target the next level. That is essentially how I trade them. And if I post charts like this, if I post, for example, a chart like this, a rather high time frame chart, all you have to look for is the difference in color. So because this area is really white, I expect this one to act as resistance, or this one to act as support. That is that is essentially how the heat map charts work. Do you guys have any questions about that? Allows me to take a drink as well. Can something be done, maybe another color, to make the heat map visibility better? So it is not that visible for the reason that if I turn the opacity up, then there's a possibility that it reaches like full white pretty fast. So let's say I have 5 fibs in the same spot, it's gonna reach like, it's gonna be fully dense after 5. While on a chart like this, I have so many fibs that I want it to be able to show more than that. Yeah, if you really have trouble reading the charts, I'll post an example in chat so you can test it out. If you have trouble reading the charts, what you can do is you can click on it and then click open in browser, and then the actual like image you open is going to be way higher quality, because Discord doesn't allow for resolutions above 1920 1080, and the main monitor I tried on has a higher resolution, so it compresses really weird. Yeah, harmonics plus fib and play on the lower time frame. Okay. Let's see. So I could turn the opacity up or use a different color. But for example, on this chart, for example, this line over here, or right over here, right, this area, it would reach 100% really fast. So if I were to add anything else, then it wouldn't work anymore. I wouldn't see the difference. So that's why I keep it on 10%. Okay, so one of the things I said in my message is I'm gonna share a chart for everyone to be able to use it and to test around a bit with it. I wanted to share the injective chart. So there you go. I'll put it in chat. You should be able to just open that in your own training view, and you can just look around on it and see what's happening on the chart. If you want to enable, disable anything, you just go over here on the right. You press this little object tree data window button, and then you can enable and disable the folders. Just like that. So the reason why I wanted to share the injective chart is because on a lower time frame we have some very, very good levels, right? So for example, the level we just rejected on, right over here. This is a very confluent band. Like there are so many fibs on the same spot that we can expect this to act as a good support resistance. So this is now resistance until we flip it to support. Then we can expect higher. Or, for example, these fans, I showed it at the start. These fans are very confluent. So I use the 6 hour the most for this. For example, right over here, pretty recently, we would not take a position on this because we went below. I would have probably taken a position on this. This would have gone stopped out, right? This didn't work. Then after that, I would have taken a position on this, touched the level, closed above, stop loss either below the wick or slightly lower, below NSR level, whatever you want. I'll put it lower. And then we target the next level, which is right over here. Then over here again. Touch the level, close above. We can place our stops just like that, and we can target the next level. I would absolutely TP on the way, right? Like for example, right over here, if you were up 5R, I would obviously take a TP. But that is essentially how I play the fans. What is the name for the fan indicator? The fan is this one. It is called a fib speed resistance fan. And how I drew this one is I drew it from the bear market lows. This is the lowest point in the bear market. This one might look higher, but lower, but it's higher. So this is the lowest point, and I put it to all-time high. So it's just this one, the fib speed resistance fan. It's like that, and on top like that. Some advice for anyone doing this: even if it's a weekly fan like this, I recommend doing it on the 6 hour, because if I zoom in now, you will see that the one I just drew is slightly different. So the 6 hour is preferred because if you do it on a 6 hour, like the 1 hour is not going to give you different results. But for example, the weekly will. So the 6 hour is the most accurate in my experience. Or the 4 hour if you want to do that. That's fine as well. I would not go above that. So that's it for the fan. And that is essentially everything about how I trade the heat maps. So for example, now on Objective, if I enable everything, I am currently looking at this. We have a pretty nice rejection here. These are 2 fibs, so I consider this a good level. But since it's only 2 and I have so many on the charts, I would have expected it to be more. And we have a really good level right above it. So I'm going to look for a rejection on this level now. So if we touch into this level, and then we close back below, so we kind of touch in, close below, then I'm going to be looking to take this short. And what will I target? This one is going to be my TP1. And the line over here is going to be my final TP. So that's one of the things I'm looking at on Injective right now. Alternatively, I can do the same with this level, right? If we touch it and close above, I'm going to look to take a position just like that. And that is how I trade them. That is what I wanted to go for on B&B as well. So that's what I wanted to go for on this B&B trade. I looked at a 6 hour and I said, if we close properly, I'm going long. I didn't end up doing that for the reason that BTC was at a very important resistance. But if we isolate B&B, this would have been a really good trade. Yeah, thank you, Tala. I appreciate that. Okay, that is everything I wanted to go over regarding the heat maps. So we have some time, so let's look at some coins. Unless there are any questions, of course. If you have any questions, you can put them in chat. And otherwise, let's look at some coins. So, do you guys have any suggestions? Any coin you want to look at? Since I'm going to be charting on this layout, I would prefer a coin with a good amount of data. There's a good one. I can show Ordi. I've already charted Ordi, so that's going to be a quick one. Any preferred setting for... Oh yeah, good one. Yeah, okay, I've got enough coins. These heat maps take a bit to make, so I can't do too many coins. For the fans, I use 2 presets. I use this one as preset number 1. And I use this one as preset number 2. The only thing that's different are the numbers. I do have these pinned in my channel as well. If you can't find them anymore after the stream, they are pinned in my channel. Oh, Uni is a good one as well, yeah. I'll add Uni. Let me just go on this one. Let's say, what do we have? We had Ordi. We had B&B. BTC Dominance. I'll do that one quickly as well. Nair, that was a good one. And Uni. USDT Dominance. Okay, that is the last one. USDT Dominance is a good one. What are the confluences? We went over that at the start of the stream in detail, so I'll make it really quick. I am looking at... What's this chart? The reasons why I'm shorting are this bearish butterfly right over here, and this reciprocal ABCD or lightning pattern right over here. So those are my main confluences for shorting there. I have a bunch of others as well, but these are my main confluences. Okay, let's see. Get on this one. I will start with USDT Dominance first, actually. I think that was a pretty good suggestion. So for USDT Dominance, I'm gonna show this first, okay? Because I think this is a really good channel. And you can just add this to your own chart as well. It's a really, really nice one. So if I take the Fib channel right there, you can find it over here within the Fib settings. I take this high to this high to this low. And what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to make it white for now because it's a dark layout. I am going to only enable 0, 0.5, 1, 1272, or 1314. Actually, for clarity, I'll even remove the 0 and the 0.5. I'm going to do the 1, 1272, and the 1314, okay? And what we will see is that every single time on the weekly where we touch this level, we touch this channel, and we close above, we have had a really good push up on USDT dominance. So this one didn't get a really good push because we closed below, right? Then we came back, and then we touched it and closed below twice. That's when we had a really good push. Here again, really good push. And that's what we had here as well. We had a really good push. So that is why I will put it like this as well. This is your 1, 2, and 3. And I'll put this in chat because I think this is a really good channel for everyone to have. So if we ever come back to that channel and we touch it, we go within it, and if we close above on the weekly, then that is a really good sign to be very cautious. Put this one in there as well. Okay, then for the rest of the chart, because this is a very high time frame outlook, right? Let's go on the rest of the chart. If I go on the daily, the first thing I see is a very clean high and a very clean low. So I'm just going to put a fan on that and look for reactions. So what did we see? Let's see, this is actually... Okay, I'm going to have to slightly do this again on a lower time frame. Yeah, alright. Does that not work? Okay, that is a shame. Let's just do it like this then. Okay, so what do we see? We are using this level quite a bit. If we go on the daily, because we have a very high time frame one, right? So I'm going to go on the daily for confluence. We flipped this level to support over here, and we broke above it. We are now trying to break below this one. So my first reaction would be that we need to start closing below this diagonal, right over here. If we close below it, we can maybe expect a retest and a lower. That looks really good. But if we now close above this line, that would be a pretty bad sign. If we now close above this, I would long this chart, right? This is if we close above. We have to close decisively above for that. And then we would target high. But currently we are below it. If we close below it, we can maybe look for a short on the retest. And for those that don't know, USDT dominance is inversely correlated to the crypto market. So if this chart goes up, crypto goes down. If this chart goes down, crypto goes up. So that's it for these levels. But if I go on the 4-hour, we have some really nice plays over here. We charted these out a few streams ago as well, because these are really nice levels. So we have a 141 butterfly right over here. So we have the 0.786 to the 141. For those that follow the cheat sheet I have on my channel, the butterfly also has a 141. The one on the cheat sheet only has a 1272. This one is also valid. So that is what we're currently reacting to. And let's see if we have actually hit the TP already. So I'm just going to go into TPs. Yeah, we are almost at TP2. So I expect a reaction at TP2. And if we go to TP2, I will probably expect a retest of this 0.382 level. So in short, I think we touched the 618. Then possibly we can go back for the 382. Or if we go below it, we go into 786. I think we're heading, like, we are now sitting at an area where I wouldn't comfortably short this chart, but I do still think it goes a bit lower. USDT dominance breaks below the line, we're all going to be millionaires. Yeah, true. If it breaks below, that is going to be a real bull market. Because then your targets are going to be so much lower, right? Yeah, no, that that if we have a break below that, maybe even get a retest or something, that's going to be such a good sign. That's a big if. So that is what I'm looking at for USDT dominance. And if we were to reject, I would look for this area again. I would simply take this box, and I would try and short this again. Right, just like that. And we just short it again to the 618. Do you recommend scalping for a beginner? No, I do not. I think if you are starting to trade, I think the best thing you can do is start and chart on either a weekly or a daily time frame. If you want to trade a lot, you start on a daily time frame, right? You mark very important levels, like you mark your order blocks or support resistance or important Fibonacci levels or those kind of things. And then you zoom in, you go to like a 4-hour, 3-hour, 2-hour, those kind of things. And you do the same thing again. And then you start paper trading first. So if you see a reaction on a very important level, you're gonna put a short there and gonna see if it plays out. And just learn how that works first and get some screen time in, get some good practice in. And then once you know how it works, once you're consistently profitable, once your trades are going well, you can start like actually trading proper funds, right? One thing I recommend for that is to always like log your trades. If you take a trade, you write it down. You write down why you took it, when you took it, and then when it plays out, you go back to that trade and you try and learn from what happened. If it goes wrong, you look at why it went wrong. If it goes well, you look at why it went well. But the most important thing in that, because you recommended scalping, asked if I recommended scalping, I do not recommend scalping. I think starting on a daily and then just going to like a 4-hour, I think that's preferred for starters. What about harmonics? I really like harmonics, but I would not recommend them to a beginner. I would recommend Fibonacci levels for a beginner. Because harmonics are based on Fibonacci levels, so you need to know how those work first. So, for example, if I go back on a daily time frame, right? I'm just gonna hide these real quick, especially this one. Just gonna hide these. So what you need to know if you want to trade harmonics, right? Which I do recommend. I really enjoy this system, and honestly, I would not trade that much if it wasn't for harmonic systems. So what you need to know is you need to know how Fibonacci systems work first. So the standard Fibonacci retracement, for example, you should know where you need to put it, for example. So in this case, from all-time high to the low we created after that. And then let's see, I'll just use this one. It's going to be very chaotic, but I want to showcase it, right? So it's going to be a bit hard to see, but I want it to be clear on purpose. So if I go on the chart like this, you should know why this 0.5 zone, why this is such an important area to reject. Yeah, I have a lot of fib levels. But that's what I would recommend for beginners. If you have an interest in harmonics, I recommend Fibonacci first. And I have a full video in my recordings channel on how essentially every Fibonacci level works. Yeah, you don't have to start sorry, just start at the beginning. That's actually it. Because harmonics are nothing more than a lot of Fibonacci levels. The BTC dominance, I'll go on BTC dominance after that. So this is essentially what I'm looking at for USDT dominance. We just have this Guardi right over here, or this I drew it wrong. We just have this butterfly right over here. This is what I'm looking at. I think we either go back, retest, go lower, or we go lower to the 618 we just drew and maybe touch that PRZ or the 0.382. Harmonic TPs, just like that. These are the levels I'm looking at for rejection. I use arrows as well, just like that. Yeah, that is the one I did on Fibonacci levels. Okay, I'm gonna go on BTC dominance real quick. Oh, that is the BTC chart. First of all, time frame or like macro outlook. Macro outlook, I am still looking for 60%. 60% is still my main level. We have a diagonal 0.786, and we have a reciprocal ABCD right over there. So this is still my main level. And if we take a Fibonacci pool from, well, BTC is going to be the 618, right? That is also what this 618 stands for. So this is still my main level on a high time frame. Then on a low time frame, let's take a look at this. I haven't looked at this in a while now, so let's see. We had, I know we have harmonics right over here. Just like that, we are like right below that. So I'm gonna draw it just like that. That 1618 should be somewhere over there. Yeah, I'm looking at the BD 1618. So that's gonna be somewhere over there. Essentially, I think this is our resistance currently. So we are still reacting to that. I think we can like come back into that and then drop. That would make a lot of sense. If I take a fib pool from this, yeah, we haven't touched TP1 yet, right over here. So it's also possible that we just reject this and just go and touch TP1, right? That's also very possible. So either we go up and reject this, and that would be a really good level. If we reject that, I would be confident in taking some altcoin longs. Alternatively, we can go back down here and then go up. And this is where I would take a lot of altcoin shorts. Because for those that don't know, BTC dominance is a chart that showcases how much of the market Bitcoin is. So at the moment, Bitcoin is 57% of the market. So if Bitcoin becomes more of the market, that means altcoins become less. So that means altcoins underperform. So this chart up means altcoins down in general. And there's more to it than that, right? Because this is in percentages. So altcoins can still go up if BTC dominance is going up, if BTC itself is also rising. There's like a whole cheat sheet for that. To like understand it, but in general, for altcoins to perform well, you need this chart to go down. So P and NQ breaking out soon. Oh, that's going to be interesting. That's going to be really interesting. Yeah, so I'm essentially looking at this for BTC dominance, but keep in mind on a higher time frame, I still think we go. I still think we go to 60%. Yeah, if I take it on like this low over here, no, I think this is our first strong low, so I'm taking this one. So this is our essentially swing low. This is our first strong low. This is the first low that broke high. So we also have this bet right over here. So this would also be a really good area to look at. So if we touch this level, I would look for a bunch of altcoin shorts, because I think this is a very important level. Just like that. BTC dominance. Okay, let's see. What coins were we looking at? I'm gonna do ORDI first because we already have an ORDI chart. And let's see, we just went over these charts, right? Over what we're looking at. So let's put that into test. I'm gonna go on a lower time frame because there are a lot of lines on this chart. So let's look at it. If I look at this chart, where are the areas with the most, like where is the color the most dense? Well, we have a few areas. One is this kind of line over here. This is a very important one because the color is really dense over there. I can see one over here. This is what I talked about in the post. I think this level can front run us, and it's trying to right now. We have a nice support level over here, and we have a nice one over here. So this was the area I'm looking at for a short. So if we touch this level, I'm gonna look for a short. So I did already give this short on my channel, and I have set limits for it. I think if we touch this, we're gonna get a good drop. So for ORDI, that is essentially what I think. We can possibly go down here. That's possible. I think this can front run us. But the risk to the reward over here is not worth it for me. Because I'm not really going to put my stop loss here because, well, there's more harmonics there. So I would still want to short there, even if it hits. And same story over here, right? Same story over here. So I would have to put it all the way up there. And I don't want to take this short. So that's why I'm looking over there. That is what I'm looking at for already. A really quick one because I already put that one into my channel. But those are my thoughts for already. Yeah, by the way, Niraj, you don't have to say sorry to interrupt if you're in the chat. Because I can keep talking even if you're typing, brother. But I appreciate the kindness. It's very polite. Okay, let's look at Nair. I think Nair is a really interesting coin because it's both AI and it's a layer 1 as well, if I remember correctly. And it has a pretty good share in like Grayscale's AI fund. So this chart is really interesting because like that is fundamentally a pretty good position to be in, right? That is the catalyst that eventually caused Sui to properly send. And a lot of other coins have that potential. Oh, that is nice. Yeah, Oracle V2 is gonna be really good. Because it caught that long as well, right? Yeah, it's up 2%. Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Okay, so the first thing I see on there is we have a bullish Gardley slightly lower, right over there. I also know we had a Gardley over here somewhere. No, okay, that's not entirely valid. We should still have a cipher though. Yeah, so we have a cipher, but that's gonna be over at the 786. Gonna be right over there. So I can immediately see these two, right? On a macro time frame, I think these are the only two. But we might have one over here as well. No, that is a 7.11. So I would have to take it on a different one. Have to take it over here. No, that's not. That might be. Yeah, actually to the 1618. Yeah. Okay, so we have 3 harmonics over here. So some kind of web app where I can practice harmonic pattern recognition through repetition. Like answering. Okay, so do you want to test the ratios? Like, do you want to see the ratios and then see if it's valid or not, or do you want to like see it on the chart, like if there are harmonics on a chart? I mean, well, I'll go on with drawing the heat map because there is a chart I wanna look at a lot more. So I'm just gonna take a full time and it gives us like a full chart. Both, yeah. Okay, so for ratios, you're gonna have to do it manually. You're gonna have to look at the cheat sheets. So I have all of the cheat sheets pinned to my channel. You can use those, and then if you see harmonics, you can just compare them to the cheat sheets, and you're gonna be like, okay, this is actually valid or not. The B point tolerance is in there as well. It is 5% for everything, 3% for Gardleys and butterflies. So that is like the percentage you're allowed to be off for it to be valid or not. For the second thing about spotting harmonics, that is going to be an even worse answer. That comes with time. You need a bit of screen time, and you need to like try it a lot, and it's going to take very long at the start. So when I started trading harmonics, it took me like 5 minutes to even find one, right? It took me quite a while. But eventually it would just like click at some point and you would just see them everywhere. So for example, like this one, you saw the moment we went on the chart. The moment we went on the chart, I saw this one, right? At some point that would just happen. You would just see a chart and you're going to be like, oh, there it is. So that just comes with time. That is actually just practice. So yeah, for the ratios, you have to check it yourself. For the patterns, boring answer. It just comes with time. This one is not snapped to the correct one. Just gonna keep this one up. And then I'm gonna take another one from all-time high to, I think this is all-time low. Right over there. Oh, that was already on it. Okay. Oh, I'm missing something. Have the X to A? Oh, I'm missing X to C. Okay, just like that, we have the first part of our heat map. I'm gonna put all of it in a group, and I'm gonna call it the cipher. Lock it, hide it. There we go. Let me just also draw a fan because this chart looks pretty good for fans. So I'm gonna start over here, and I'm gonna just put it over there because I can't make it accurate instantly. Something very annoying about having to do it on a lower time frame to make it more accurate. Essentially can't really do that in one pool. See, bottom fan. It's gonna go over here. I think this is all time low. Yeah. Same thing right over there. Okay, let's look at it. That is a pretty good fan. I'll remove the rest so you can see it more easily. That looks really good. So for example, this line, right? This is what I look at is 0.5. As long as we stay below this, I don't see any rapid expansion because we are below like mid-range essentially on this diagonal fan. So I really want us to flip this. If we flip this, that is a really, really good sign. And this is an all-time high fan, right? So we need to flip it on a weekly time frame. So I will need multiple candle closures above. Apart from that, this fan just kind of tells us that we're still just ranging. We're kind of just ranging within this channel. So until we either break below or we start breaking above, that's when the magic happens, right? That's when we're gonna see some real expansion. I'll put these in group as well. Let's see. I want to draw this one out first because this one gave a really good reaction, right? This is what we rejected off of. I can actually, because they are fans, I can just do it on this time frame. I'm gonna do it a bit faster because we're taking quite some time, so I'm gonna just do this. Gonna hide everything. This was our heat graph. And last one. So if you just like regularly trade harmonics, you don't have to always do this, right? You can just take D as an interest point because D is essentially your interest point. But in my case, I wanted to really like make it more accurate, so that's why I draw everything manually. This one's only gonna have 4 of them since we haven't completed it yet. So put this one in a group as well. Okay. Let's look at what we have just created. Enable everything. We have created a bunch of chaos. That's what we've done. And let's see. Okay. This looks pretty good. So what I'm looking for immediately is we can see multiple bands, right? If I make it a bit tighter, we can see that we have 2 very important levels right over here. We also have this one right over here. This is a very important level, actually. Yeah, we have a bunch of levels. They are kind of spread out. You can see that we actually have a bunch of empty space within it. So what we can do is what I just showed on Vanry as well. if we like kind of start flipping this to support, we can just look for a play on the gap fill. Either towards this, that's going to be our TP1, and then just higher towards the gap. So like that. So we can take like that, or alternatively, you can see that there are a bunch of fibs here, and then only 3 of them up here. So we could also take it like this. Let's put it like that. And we're going to look at it like that. So essentially, if we flip this, we can start looking for that. And I would look for these individual fib bands as TPs. Just like that. Judging by the chart, that is essentially what we'll be looking at for near right now. And if we get that level, we can also just consider a short, right? This depends on how we react to it. So if we like fully SFP it close below, just like we did over here, we could try to take a short. We would literally just short it like this. Take the candle close, put it above the wick, short it to the next level. And this fib band right over here is going to be our next TP. So that is essentially what I'd be looking for. So as you can see, these charts, they take some time to make, but we can get some pretty good levels off of it. So for example, we can just instantly see that this has been used as support a lot, right? And this one as well, like these are instantly important levels. So if we start going up again, well, we already have the levels charted. We already know that this, for example, is a really good level because the color is so dense. So we can look for a reaction, look for a short. And that just depends on how price react to it. We have the levels, so now all we need is a reaction. Now we can act on that. I think especially this short right here, this one, would be really good if it happens somewhere over here. So we would have the fan on it as well. That would be really nice, because that way we also have the fan confluence. So probably if the fan actually starts colliding like that, then I will probably turn it into a limit order. Something like that. That's probably what I would go for if that happens. Let's see. We went over order, we went over BTC dominance. Let's go over uni. Oh yeah, I already have some on uni. So I have some very high time for harmonics over here. So I think in general, uni looks really good from this spot. Especially like considering how good of a level this is. Like you have your shark right over here. It's a D point. And if I just extend that and include this D point, this is essentially just your accumulation level. So if we start flipping that to support, something like that, then I would consider a lot. I could also just, I'm gonna just go ahead. I'll actually just take this one. It's gonna take fan off of this. Just like that. The top fan, yeah. So what we can see is over here, we flipped this one to support, right? Then we went higher, and we have flipped it to support over here. So I think we don't touch this level. But if we touch it, flip it, that's when we could also take a position. The best thing that could happen is if it happens like somewhere over here. That would be a really good level for a long. So somewhere like that, right? And we would put it below our last support level. Or a bit further. If you're on a master at harmonics, can you create the Piplas from every single low and swing high? Yeah, you can. Absolutely. Let's do it in uni, right? I really like using live examples, so let's do that. I'll screenshot this first. Yep, it will work the exact same way. You're gonna end up with a little less levels since you're not gonna have the ABCD, but it would still work. One thing I did see is on Uni, you kind of have this going on. Before we move into the clusters. So we have, yeah, we have a 786 right over there. Or alternatively an 886 a bit higher. So I would TP any of these levels because these levels are possible shorts. I usually like playing the deep Guardly instead of the Guardly, but that's what I would look for. So we could also just look for something like this, right? And then short it back into that support level. Okay. Let's do what Rohan just suggested. I'm gonna disable everything. Just hide it all. And what we're gonna do, I'm gonna go on a weekly. We're gonna just fib every high and low, right? Yeah, but I'm just gonna do the uni because we're in uni anyway. I'm gonna not include the listing week. You can do that. I prefer to take it like this. If I can, I will not include the listing week. Okay, so we have our low, all-time low to all-time high, essentially. Then I take this one the other way around for the reason that I can do this, right? But it will only give me a lot of information up there. And honestly, I don't care if uni is at 130. Like at that point, I will charge it again. That's fine. So I'm gonna exclude that. I'm gonna draw this one upside down. Very illegal. I know, I'm aware. It is what it is. We have to live with it. Then I'm gonna chart this bull market like mid-cycle low to the high we created. And I'm just gonna chart this high to the bear market low. Then I'm also gonna chart all-time high to the bear market low. It's gonna go on. I'm gonna take the bear market low to the next high. Do the same thing here. It's the same thing I did before. I can draw this chart upside down as well. That's completely fine. Take this one. So now we have essentially just fibbed every low, right? If I were to draw this as a wave, I think I can actually. Yeah, so I just do it like this to showcase it. This is essentially what we did, right? This is our price action. So I just fib it like this. I place fibs everywhere in these levels. And then the one that isn't showcased is this one, from over here to over here. That is the only one I didn't showcase. But that is essentially what I fib. So let's look at the chart. Or let's do a slightly higher time frame. There you go. I prefer, by the way, I always prefer the 3 hour and the 6 hour. So let's look at that. 3 hour. Close below. Or touch the levels, close below. Went to touch the next level. This one failed. This one touched, close below, went to the next level. Close below, not doing anything, not doing anything. This one happened twice, it went through like the mid-level, right? This kind of happening twice and then going significantly down. We are probably missing a fib. That's what this is telling us. So this is also why I suggest if you do this, do not let it go to full TP. Like TP midway through. I mean, you can let it go through full TP, right? But if you're in a position like this, just take a regular TP somewhere over there. It's completely fine. Because you're already going to be up, right? So if you just, for example, take this, just TP over there. So that's, for example, that's what you would do over here. If I would take, for example, I can either take this low, I can take this. You just use other levels for confluence for that, right? We did it again. This would be your TP1. This would be the FIB plus CD target. Bunch of noise over here. This one we touched, closed above. So this would also be a possible position. I will put my stop below the level and target the next cluster. So yes, you can also do it like this. You can do it without harmonics. It works, but you're gonna end up with less levels. As you can see, I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8. While every single harmonic already gives me, what's it called? Already gives me 5 on their own. And some even give me 6. So yes, you can do it, but you will end up with less levels. So you would have to create a few more. So what I can recommend is you might not be able to spot harmonics, right? But you can spot an M or a W. That is something a lot of people can spot. I'm just going to remove it. Or actually, I want to keep the harmonics. I'm just going to delete these. So you can spot an M or a W, right? Anyone can see that this is an M. Because the last bull market is essentially just an M. So what you can do to add levels is you take that low to the high like you normally would. I'm gonna hide this one for clarity now. Then you take this mid-cycle low to all-time high. On most coins, this is just gonna be all-time high, right? And then if you hold control, so I'm holding control now, and then you just drag this fib across, you will copy it automatically. And then you put it, so you put this mid-cycle low to all-time high, that fib, you just put it over like the first lower high. On most charts, it's going to be a lower high. Just put it over there. That way, you have already added an extra fib, and this is usually a part of a harmonic. So that way, even if you can't spot the actual harmonic, you can add an extra level. And what does this level actually give us? I'm gonna only use this level, and we can see, well, this level, it is obviously incomplete right now, right? Because we don't have everything. We have a pretty nice reaction on that level already. So if you touch it close above, well, we got a pretty nice reaction over there. And we can see it over here as well, right? It's just support over there. We use it as resistance a few times over here. Support. So just by adding that one pool, you can get a bunch of extra levels. And you can do that on any chart. Because this is essentially one of the parts harmonics are made of, right? There's like the second leg of that lightning pattern we talked about at the start of the stream. So that is, if I were to do this without being able to chart harmonics, that's how I would do it. I would draw these fibs like across the blue line, right? And I would take this M shape, take this fib right here, and then copy it, put it right over there. That's how I would do it. Even if you don't see harmonics, you can do it like that. That's how you create extra levels. Because the only thing, like, if you have working levels that will give a good reaction, the only thing you will run into if you don't use that many levels is that you will sometimes get front run. Or you will hit an important level without knowing it, and then you didn't TP, for example. But yeah, I think that is basically it. We went over all of the coin requests. We went over the heat maps, we went over everything essentially. So that is gonna be it for me. Are there any questions? Yeah, you essentially follow the wave, and then because for this one we are measuring something, I draw this one upside down. You essentially just draw the wave, right? Because that's how you want to draw fibs as well. So, and harmonics especially. Like essentially what harmonics are just a 5-wave structure. You go up, down, and then you expect to go up after. This is essentially just a wave. So you just draw the entire wave, and then you're gonna get a good level somewhere around there. All right, I'm gonna end the stream, the recording here.